Am I the butthole for calling the police on my husband? My husband's car doesn't work and he needs money to get it fixed. He doesn't have enough money. I'm in medicine school and have been getting ready for my exams for a month now. Every month he and his friends go on a road trip. His car's been sitting in the garage for 3 months now. He asked if he could take my car to take the guys on a road trip since it was his turn to take them. I told him I need the car since I have a weak immune system and public transportation might be risky. And I can't afford to get sick in the middle of my exams. He begged, saying his friends are going to say he ruined the trip, and our discussion got nowhere. The trip was last week. I had an exam the day of the trip and left at 8 a.m. I had several things to do. I stopped by the coffee shop to use the internet. I arrived at the university at 8:30 and entered the hall getting ready for my exam. After I finished, I spent few minutes with my friends, then I left. I got to the parking lot and my car wasn't there. I started freaking out, thinking I might have left the door open or something. I called my husband but he didn't pick up. My friends immediately told me to call the police. I ended up waiting for them to ask me about what happened. The officer said I needed to come to the station to give my statement. I stayed there for 4 hours, then I was told my car was found. My husband was driving it and was picked up an hour away from where we live. I was shocked and mad. It never occurred to me that he was the one who took it. I went home and waited until he got back. He was upset and didn't want to talk about what he did. The argument started after he said he made a copy of the key and didn't take until he made sure I arrived for my exam. I yelled at him and told him it was not okay. He caused me to stress out and worry about the car. He told me calling the police was drastic and shouldn't have gotten them involved, but I had no idea he took the car. He said he wanted to text me but forgot. Said the trip was ruined and he was embarrassed by being picked up by the police while he was with friends. He still thinks calling the police was over the top reaction, but what was I supposed to do? Not the butthole and dump him. He stole your car, let you worry, and can afford to go on a trip with his friends but not to fix his own car? You deserve better, hun. Go get it. Edit. Wow, thanks for the awards, kind strangers. Also, please don't forget to give some strength to Op. And he copied her key? That's a huge red flag. What else have he copied? Copying car keys also isn't cheap. And he can't afford to get his car fixed but can do that and do a monthly road trip? Where is this money coming from? Depends on the car, even some of the newer models aren't horribly expensive. Had to get a copy of my car key on a 2018 and it was $60. If it's an old car, without a transponder key, it's probably closer to $5. $60 is not a small amount of money. Especially when one of them is in medical school, you are so strapped for cash you can't get your car fixed. Probably less than the cost of the gas for the road trip. Also probably less than the cost of food or lodging for the road trip. And if we are going to assume they are that cash strapped, it would be safe to also assume it's an older car that you can get a key made cheap. Hell, even some of the new ones you can program the transponder yourself, so it would just be the cost of the key. Yeah, now that you mention it, why was he going on monthly road trips that cost food and gas money when that money is clearly needed for their own basic necessities? Also, what the F did he expect would happen when her car just disappeared from a public parking lot? Why wouldn't she assume it was stolen? He didn't take it from home, he took it from a public parking lot. Original poster is absolutely not the butthole. Right? Of course, she called the cops. Her car went missing and husband didn't answer his phone on purpose, because he knew she'd be mad. Original poster's husband is such an aw. Edit, cat to car, embarrassed smiley face, zany face. Also, I've got $10 that says he's cheating on her. Maybe on these weekends with the boys. Why was it a problem to take one of the other guys' cars? Maybe because there weren't any other guys on this trip. My from the hip guess is that original poster has some self-esteem issues and the husband is a manipulative, though probably superficially attractive, user. Why else would she be putting up with this clown? Guys like that usually have, or at least try to have, some young, pretty, gullible girl on the side to augment their main meal ticket. I hope I'm wrong, but whatever the case, this relationship has some pretty major problems. Honestly, I think it really was just not wanting to be embarrassed by not having a working car. Remember, Op's husband was embarrassed because his friends were there when he got pulled over for driving her stolen car. And that was what he was mad about the most. Anything is possible, but I personally don't read cheating as part of these guys' road trips. I like to take road trips myself because I find the rhythm and atmosphere to be very relaxing. Op's ex-husband hopefully. Now I'm imagining original poster riding her cat to her exam. Thanks for that image, smiley face, smiley face. And her assumption that the car was stolen was 100% correct. Original poster did the right thing in reporting the theft to the police, and they recovered Op's stolen car. The husband is just mad that he was caught. I don't understand what he thought original poster was going to do when she got to the parking lot and the car was nowhere to be found. Anyone would assume it was stolen. Especially since he didn't answer when she called him. Especially since she didn't know he had a key. He must have imagined her walking out of her exam and saying, "Golly gee, the car is gone." Husband must have borrowed it on his road trip. What a funny guy. No problems or worries over here. And went on her way home. This guy is either delusional or idiotic, or both? Edit, updated BF to husband. Now it's even worse. The guy is a criminal. Also, she mentioned she is immunocompromised, and he's going on car trips during a pandemic. They don't state which country they are in, but man, risky business. Exactly. How was she supposed to get home too? Guess she only needed to be healthy for the exam. The ride home, not so much. Also, how considerate of him to let her go to her exam and then snatch her way back home. Well, wouldn't want to screw up his future meal ticket. And to drive him over to the school so that he could steal it from her. How young are these two? She's in med school. So mid/late 20s, maybe early 30s. Well, assuming this is in the States. She does say medicine school, which is not what we would normally say, medical school. Other countries start med school much earlier because it's a different system. Like in the UK, what we would call pre-med they call med school, so while med school is longer for them, their total time is shorter compared to ours because it's a dedicated med track starting with undergrad. At least as far as I understand it. Yeah, like this effer didn't even leave a message because he knew she would freak out, but probably didn't want to look bad on the Instagrams and to his friends. I know this sub always says dump or divorce to anything, but this genuinely seems messed up. Because he's entitled to it, he works hard and needs his guy time. Sarcasm. So you cannot have a nice car and then end up strapped for cash? All you really did here was explain how husband is spending the money he should using to fix his car and frivolous things while also showing no respect to his wife. I didn't say anything of the sort, and was not condoning his actions. I was just pointing out that it isn't always that expensive. There are plenty of other reasons to get mad at the guy, and this trip likely cost many times than the cost of the key. Mine's a 2011 and they quoted me a whopping $280 for my key. Mine's an 07, and it's north of $300 to replace the key if you go to the dealership. It is admittedly German, though, so I brought it on myself. Excuse me while I go freak out about how much keys are in my country. Now you have me curious, what country are you in and how much would it cost? Not whom you responded to. But I'm US, and for a 2011 Honda Pilot I was quoted about $280. I had a nearly similar experience with my 2012 Toyota Yaris. I lost my keys. Temporarily, thankfully, but I checked into getting replacement keys. It was nearly $300. I couldn't believe it. Somehow, I managed to locate the missing key and saved myself the expense, but I'll never forget how much they wanted to charge for a replacement key. Not that different from the cost of renting a car for a day. The thought process here. Copied her key in advance, somehow got to her school, without a car, then found her car in a school parking lot. He didn't forget to text, this was planned out in advance. What in butthole? He was either following her in his mate's car, or he had a tracker on the car or her phone so he could see where she had parked. He's the butthole and a creep. And left her stranded at the school with no ride home. Yeah, but road trip. That's the most important thing. Who cares about a wife, her exams, a stolen vehicle, being stranded, A deadly pandemic, trust and empathy? Road trip. This guy must have brain damage or something. I can hear someone yelling road trip just be the way you typed it, smiley face. Also, the fact that he stole her car in order to actively risk her health during a global pandemic. F this guy. Are you saying that a road trip during a deadly global pandemic isn't important enough to steal one's wife's car, and leave her stranded, then blame her for embarrassing him in front of his bellend friends? That's so unreasonable. Copied her key and didn't tell her. And waited until she was inside, cause you know he wasn't going to ask for the car, he was planning to just take it, thinking she couldn't do anything once he was gone. Said the trip was ruined and he was embarrassed by being picked up by the police while he was with friends. Then maybe he shouldn't have stolen a car. Not the butthole, and if it were me, I'd press charges. Divorce goes without saying. Did he think he was in a sitcom and she's just walk out to the empty parking spot and do a big old kick of the dirt saying, "That darn Doug"? He did it again. And life would go on? Op shouldn't even have to ask if she's the butthole. Years with this dude has warped her view of the world. He's terrible. Her. Home rock? Dun dun dualuan. Just kidding, of course. I mean, the case is clear as a sunny day anyway, might as well have some fun in the comments. Dump him now before you are making a physician's salary, op, or you'll end up paying alimony to this thief. This, exactly original poster. On top of everything else screwy about his shenanigans, this is happening because he wanted to take a trip with his friends, not a necessity, when his vehicle, a necessity, isn't working. He does not have mature priorities. He can do a lot of damage to your credit score, your savings, everything. While you're trying to pay back big med school debt. You need to protect yourself. You might want to look into what damage this criminal has already done. He stole your key to copy it, obviously planning on stealing your car, and then he stole your car, and then whined about how bad it made him look. How many credit cards has he maxed out in your name? What else has he stolen? This. Oh my goodness, the man is dead weight. Original poster, leave him. If he's willing to make a car key without original poster knowing and take it while she's in an exam, he's probably willing to take out credit cards in her name too. This. Right now, she has a good case for divorce due to him stealing her car, and I can't imagine any court siding with hubby for alimony in such a case. This. He's already taken advantage of original poster enough. Who's to say what he would try to do in a divorce when original poster is gainfully employed? Not the butthole. He literally stole your car like a bratty teenager when you told him no. This should make you seriously reevaluate this relationship. Not only reevaluate the relationship, but also consider pressing charges. His behavior is scary, to be honest. I agree. Who's to say he won't do even worse in the future when told no? And then blaming original poster for the consequences of his own actions is just such a massive whoa moment for me if it was escalated. Jeered. This was clearly premeditated and planned on his part. He had the foresight to make a copy of her key behind her back, and then waited until she was at school. Right? And then makes original poster feel guilty for his premeditated behavior? That's just terrifying. And if he is able to manipulate original poster in this instance, what else will he try to pull? I cannot imagine anything original poster could say in the lines of "but other than this he is so." Or "but we have a house together" that would mitigate what he did. Everyone else has said it better, but this guy is a child and so immature it's not funny. Definitely dump him. Calling him a child is insulting to children. Most children don't steal cars. Most children don't even steal car keys. This criminal did both. Instead of insulting innocent children, it would be more accurate to call him what he is: a criminal. Please, for the love of God, make this person your ex-husband soon. If your partner can't even clear the bar of "doesn't steal my car." And not the butthole, obviously. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where if you need to call the police on your husband for any reason, then clearly the relationship is dysfunctional. Yeah, like if it were the same situation but original poster was at home and didn't rely on it for such important stuff and husband wasn't stealing it for such a stupid reason, then husband would still obviously be a huge butthole, but maybe I could see marriage counseling as a possible solution. But the combination of everything is way too terrifying to not file divorce papers tomorrow. Not the butthole. He copied your key, and he stole your car right out of the parking lot. How were you to know the car thief was him? Meanwhile, he left you stranded in a pandemic to party with his buddies. Calling the police was appropriate. So is leaving his selfish, irresponsible ass. Him, why did you call the police on me? You should have known I borrowed your car. Him, when original poster thought he had borrowed her missing car, why didn't you call the police? Also, how was she supposed to know he borrowed the car when he didn't even have a spare key and needed to secretly copy one? No one would be able to come to such a crazy conclusion. He didn't even borrow it. He straight up stole it. All because he didn't want to admit to his friends that he couldn't drive this year. Are they all broke losers without cars? This year? No, it's this month. They go on a road trip every month apparently, but obviously, he doesn't have the money to get his car fixed, especially after having to pay for the copy of original poster's car key. Check it again, this month. They do this crap every month. Like who takes a road trip every month? And if they are doing it that often, what's the big deal with saying my wife needs the car during that time, switch me months? Honestly, this story sounds like bullcrap. Yeah, not to forget that his car was sitting in the garage since 3 weeks. He easily could have explained it to his buddies and, like you said, switch the months. 3 months. His car has been sitting in the garage waiting to be repaired for 3 months. Well, he's a broke loser without a car. And birds of a feather. I'm guessing they're not all criminals if him getting arrested for stealing a car made him look bad. Not the butthole, but your title is misleading. You didn't call the police on your husband. You called the police to report that your car had been stolen. The fact that your husband was the one who stole it is his fault, not yours. From the title, I thought it was going to be he took it anyways from their own home and she knew it was he. And I still wouldn't have thought she was the although maybe not a police matter. There was no possible way you should have known your own spouse was going to steal from you like this. His own defense implies she should have known he was a psychopath. Exactly this. Yeah. You called the police because your car was stolen, and then it turned out that your husband was the thief. Why is he taking so many vacations when he can't afford to fix his car? He needs to get his priorities straight and you need to dump him. He's a loser. And in butthole. Even if original poster had called the police on her husband because he raped her, it would be his fault, not hers. Not the butthole. He lied to you, so you properly assumed your car was stolen. He took it without your permission or knowledge, that is stealing. He probably lives by that it's easier to beg forgiveness than ask permission BS. I hate that. My husband tried that exactly one time and learned that I'm not the most forgiving kind of person. That was over 20 years ago and he has never attempted it again. I want to know that story. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.